Everyone, it's great to be together with our Renewable UK leadership team, newly formed and in our new offices, just to really give everyone a bit of information about what's going on within Renewable UK, within the industry, and what our priorities are. 2023 is going to be and is already one of the most important years. We've come from a decade of really sustained growth. We've really gone from a decade ago demonstrating this technology through to proving the concept that we can scale renewable energy and wind power in particular to be part of the backbone of the future energy system. And we're really at the cusp of this industrial era for our industry. However, we're faced probably more than ever with significant headwinds, notably the supply chain is really struggling to be profitable in an incredibly complex environment, many projects delayed. We have a big role to play in levelling up the opportunities right across the country, in Scotland and Wales, increasingly in Northern Ireland. We are the lowest cost form of energy of any type, but the industrial opportunity that falls out of this in terms of assisting the UK economy to grow and to export and to be successful in the future is really important. It seems in the context of an energy crisis and the war in Ukraine, we also shouldn't lose sight of the fact that we are right at the front of combating climate change. And without this industry and the role that we all play, we haven't got very many other tools really to tackle climate change without renewable electricity. So, Anna, as our new head of policy and engagement, how do you see the situation, the landscape after your first few months here?
Yeah, well, a lot has changed since I joined Renewable UK. Most notably, we have a new government since then. But actually, there's quite a lot of really important things that it's going to be really key for us to take into account as part of our policy and engagement work. I think on the internal stage, obviously, there's been a lot of changes on the political scene. We have a new government, as I mentioned, but also now we have a new set of departments. Of course, BEIS is no more. We now have the new Department for Energy and Net Zero. What's really key is that we ensure this department really keeps renewable at the heart of the agenda and delivers quickly. Whenever there's a new department being set up, there's always some delays in terms of getting the budgets right, getting the priorities in place. We really can't afford to lose a lot of time. We've had this change of departments now, but we're less than 2 years away from a general election, so actually we could see a new round of changes coming up on the horizon. We have to deal with a set of really key problems in 2023 while the organisational side is being ironed out. And I think on the international stage, obviously really conscious of what's happening in the US with the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act. And that's really set the scene for a competition on how to attract supply chain, how to attract investment, how to attract talent. There's a set of really competitive incentives present in the IRA. The UK really needs to respond to that with a very comprehensive package for retaining investment into the UK. We've got a set of key technologies like offshore and onshore wind, which are already delivering benefits at really low cost. But then we also have technologies like green hydrogen, wave and tidal, where we really could capture a very large share of the market. It's really important that the government keeps an eye on this international competitiveness angle. It's not just about outdoing the US when it comes to subsidies, it's about removing some of those key barriers that we've been talking about for a really long time, like sorting our planning system, ensuring market reforms are done in a timely way, and really building the grid. All of these basic things that really need to happen in order for us to remain an attractive investment destination.
And that's really interesting point about the US market development, because in many respects it's not just about what happens in the US, it's actually about how, for example, Europe is responding, because Europe is really understanding this as being a significant threat and therefore is looking at how it breaks down the barriers, which is the right thing to do. So, reducing consenting timelines, looking at investment in grid, enabling investment in sort of turbine manufacturers as strategic industries and trying to make this happen. But ultimately recognising the overriding public interest of renewables within the planning frameworks to help things go faster. So arguably, what's more important for us in the UK is what's happening in Europe, as well as understanding that there's something in America which is driving it.
Exactly. I think the US has really sparked a change when it comes to the way we think about industrialization and subsidies, and of course the EU is responding. We're seeing some promising interventions already, like relaxing of state aid rules and things that have been blockers of investment so far. That's one of our biggest trading partners. It's a really big trading bloc that's right on our doorstep. We need to think about how we respond to that, and other countries might follow suit. Norway, for example, has a huge sovereign wealth fund. Are they going to invest that in renewables and again be a really big competitor to us? potentially.
And arguably one of the most important pieces of development that's happening in Europe, and we're working very closely with our colleagues in Wind Europe on this, is around the introduction of non-price criteria. So actually valuing some of the things that I talked about at the beginning, about levelling up and about industrial growth and things like that, innovation, valuing that within our auction regimes as much as we value the price of electricity, which is already the cheapest of all of them.
Exactly, and I think we're now at an inflection point where we can't just think about how can we drive the prices even lower, because they are already way lower than any of the alternatives. But we need to ensure that the margins that are made are sustainable and can warrant that investment in supply chains, in skills, and just ensuring that our manufacturing base isn't hollowed out because we're in this race to the bottom on prices.
Thanks, Anna. I think it sort of links very well with the whole offshore agenda. So Jane, as our Director of Offshore, come in to sort of help us bring together the Offshore Wind Industry Council's work in delivering the 2019 sector deal to being delivery orientated and making sure that we can sort of deliver on some of the key areas. So how do you see the priorities?
Well, I think you both mentioned some of them already. I think about accelerating the consenting timelines, the work that's being delivered by Tim Peake as the offshore wind sector champion through the Offshore Wind Acceleration Task Force. That's focused on the acceleration of the consenting timelines, the grid. There's a lot of investment that's needed in that. Currently, it's not going to meet the 50 gigawatts by 2030 timeline that we need it to meet. It's a huge, huge challenge. I know the industry is really concerned about that. And also we have aviation and radar. So there's many challenges. We need to collaborate and work with the MOD and with other government departments to make sure that our developers build out their offshore wind farms across with military and civilian radar. The other one is through the consenting is about the strategic compensation for biodiversity for the birds. It's a really important issue that we need to work together on with the SNCBs to make sure we deliver on that.
We talk a lot about supply chain and the importance of supply chain, and then probably this has been felt particularly acutely in offshore over the past couple of years because of the delays in projects. How do you see our role in shaping that supply chain landscape?
I think we have to be a part of it. We have to be there. We have to work with our supply chain. We have to work with the clusters, 8 clusters around the country that are building out into the supply chain. We're building in Scotland, in Celtic Sea, but I mentioned that. It's not just Wales, that's also in North Devon, it's in Cornwall, it's in the southwest. There's many, many opportunities there. We can help bring these people together. We can also help with the skills. We have currently a gap of 70,000 people to deliver 50 gigawatts by 2030. That's from where we are now in 7 years. So we need to be working with the higher education colleges, with universities. We need to be working with other areas to transition people from other industries. We've just signed a covenant with Mission Renewable to bring ex-military into our industry. We're really excited about that. We're working with other organisations to make sure that we improve and increase the diversity and inclusion within our sector. Really, really important. This is the time for that change to come. This is the moment for the pipeline to come forward.
But I think it's really good to just to emphasise for a moment the topic of diversity and inclusion in the industry, because we all care so much about it within Renewable UK, and we've got a number of initiatives that we're driving to try and really move the dial on this. But last year's report showed that we've still only got less than 20% of our workforce is female. Our events, we're driving towards making sure that we've got 50-50 gender diversity in our speaker panels, but it's not just on gender that we need to drive diversity topics as well. It's got to start making a difference, right?
It has, and I think it's coming. I think there's really a change. I certainly, having come from a technical engineering background, this is the first time in my career that I really feel that there is a change coming. Across the industry, there are so many enthusiastic people that want to drive the change. We have our shadow board. Very, very important for people. And actually, if there's one thing that's come out of COVID, I think we're having these conversations now as a result of realising we can work differently. And actually, it's okay to work differently, and it's okay to bring different people in, and people can be at home and people can be in the office. It's all okay. And people can work in different parts of the country. It's opened up huge areas. In some of those coastal areas, we do see where the challenges are. But actually, I know that Humber probably is one of the areas best. By bringing offshore wind to the Humber, this is a real opportunity to increase the skills and jobs opportunities for young people and older people in those areas.
I'm really proud of the role that we play with things like the switch list, but also just in the decisions that you make day to day. Really pleasing to be able to bring Jess Hooper and Manon Camaston into the roles of Director and Associate Director of Renewable UK Cymru, both returned from maternity leave, both taking on senior roles within the association, driving the renewable industry in Wales, and influencing and shaping the Celtic Sea, but both managing the twin challenge of, and probably the more important challenge of bringing new people into the world at the same time.
And just on that, I think it's also important that we support the men that are coming back to work with young children as well. By supporting the men that are coming back into the office, we're supporting their partners as well. So this is about an inclusive industry for everyone. And I think that if we talk about climate change, all people are very, very passionate about it. If there's a time for change, it is now. And it is, we need to be flexible. And I've seen so much of that, you know, having been at Ørsted for 10 years and across the industry. This is a moment for change.
Really meaty topics there. Talked about diversity and inclusion, talking about signing the Armed Forces Covenant with Mission Renewables. Separate topic is we're launching in March our ports report for the Floating Wind Task Force, which is really essential piece of work to help unlock investments that open up opportunities all over the country. So it's really sort of that kind of big, broad message and that big, broad agenda that we're trying to drive. And we've got to tell that story, right? So that part of that is telling it through our members, Vic. It's about building our membership, also bringing the data to life.
We continue to grow, so soon we'll be over 500 members, which is fantastic to get there. As you say, the Ports and Vessels event, that's in March. It's the third year now that we've done it. This will be the second year live, as the first one was obviously a webinar. But again, it's such an important event, and launching this report, you'll see it all there. It will be one not to be missed. Membership-wise, we're growing. We've got the new categories, the new levels that we've opened up. So the Energy Pulse database, we've literally just launched a report last week, and all the information is in there. What is happening in the industry, it's just so live and vibrant at the moment. Conversations that we're having with members about our exhibitions and sponsorships, sort of a weekly basis, it's just so busy. So we've got 16 live events this year.
A really vibrant, growing portfolio of events, haven't we? We launched 5 new events last year. They're really starting to bed in. We launched the awards last year, which was a fantastic first off of celebrating all the successes in offshore wind, and to have over 500 people in the room. Incredible.
So again, we'll be growing the awards for this year as well. So we just can't help ourselves. But and also our international pavilions as well. So what you were touching on before about the US, but also our members are so interested in the opportunity out there. So we're on the flip side as well. We're also trying to help connect those dots. So we work closely with the US associations, American Clean Power and the Business Network for Offshore Wind, and also all the states and the other regions, districts out there, because there's so many grants and funding opportunities available, and that's where we do these international pavilions across the US and Europe to be able to encourage our members to support them in what they want to do, how they want to invest internationally.
It was interesting when we went to Atlantic City last year how many British voices there were in the room because of the opportunities in our supply chain. Our supply chain companies are looking to the American market to grow as well as the European market, and we're helping make that happen. We're going to Baltimore again this year, so really trying to support that kind of growth of UK business into overseas markets.
We do need to capitalise on the fact that the UK is a leader in offshore wind. We are going to be at the forefront of floating offshore wind. There's different events, the supply chain that we're bringing forward, there's different opportunities. We're a long way ahead, and we're a long way ahead in our thinking as well. Other countries do look to us, and actually through our experience, some of it quite painful, we can probably help other countries get there quicker.
And Garth, I'll just come back to you. Your role's growing now as taking on the whole operations portfolio for Renewable UK. Got some big projects that are going to shape the way our members experience being part of our association. Tell us a little bit about our digital investments.
Yeah, I mean, we're really excited to be working with our partner Watto to build out a really true world-class website and member area, which will make it easier for members to come in and engage, find other members, connect with them, as well as book events, as well as get the information that they need. They can manage their preferences, they can join working groups, they can organise private chats. It's going to be, be really good, and I think we'll be one of the first trade associations to have such an ambitious member experience. And we're also looking at developing an app which will make it again easier for members to connect with the work that the association is doing, but also connect into the services that we offer. And that's all going to come online in the autumn this year.
and doing that whilst we're trying to go for ISO 9001 and 2012, which is
goodness,
our
yeah.
sustainable events ISO as well. So.
Yeah, excited to be doing our events sustainable ISO. We've been talking about it for a long time. Vicky Comer, and our head of events, is progressing that along. And again, we will use our global offshore wind event to have an audit there, and then we'll hopefully earn our accreditation again in the autumn. It would just be easy just to do that, but we're not taking the easy route. We're also going to try and get our accreditation for our ISO 9001 management system. So that continuous improvement cycle across the business and the events.
Fantastic. So not much going on then. And all this with building a new leadership team with Renewable UK, I'm really confident that we'll help deliver it in the face of a very difficult and challenging environment in the whole economy, not just in our industry, but in the whole economy. But working closely with our counterparts in Wind Europe, in the Business Network Offshore Wind, or GWEC, keeping those connections very much alive, but driving this big agenda forward of accelerating our industry, of removing the barriers, of driving profitable growth for our members. All of that in the context of a climate crisis which hasn't gone away in spite of all of the other topics that are out there, and trying to open up this opportunity to as many people as possible from all different backgrounds. That's what unites us, and that's what keeps us going day to day, right? So I hope you found that update useful, covering the things that we're going to be working on in Renewable UK during the course of this year and beyond. If you'd like to learn more, please do follow us online. We're on RenewableUK.com. You can follow us on LinkedIn or on Twitter. We post all of our work, all of our press releases, etc. there. And if you do want to engage further with Renewable UK, do get in touch with anyone in the team via the conventional channels. And in the meantime, look forward to the next update.